I'm having trouble with the teacher.
help with my
help.
application.
I don't know what to do about my friend.
I've been getting really bad anxiety.
Can you talk to my
I need help.
I've got no idea.
It's going to be too much for my grades.
I'm freaking out.
Hey juniors, we hope you're doing well. We're here this week to talk to you about the college essay. Now I know many of you might not be at the point right now where you feel like attempting the first draft of your college essays, but at least you'll have the information to revisit over the coming months. So we'll make sure that you have this presentation. We'll send it out so that you can go back to it when you need to. So last week we talked about teacher and counselor info sheets and recommendation letters. This week we're going to be understanding the essay and looking at some of your deadlines that will be coming up in the fall.
Okay, guys, so we don't want to overwhelm you. We know that you guys have a lot going on already, but we do want to give you an idea of what next year might look like. Now, again, things could change, right? We know that colleges are changing some of their deadlines for this year's seniors for acceptances and enrollment, and so deadlines for applications could look different next year, but we're going to operate off the information we know. And what that is that rolling admissions for some universities can open as early as August. And so for those of you who are really eager and wanting to get a jump, you could begin submitting applications in August. Now, to do this and to do any of these early applications, you really should be working on these pieces that we're talking about right now. Oxford, Cambridge, UK courses in medicine, that can be October 15th. And then a lot of the early action, early decision deadlines for the US and other kind of competitive schools can be at the beginning of November. If we kind of keep looking, November 30th has traditionally been the California schools. And again, this is a totally separate application. So it's important that as you're looking at these deadlines, that you also understand if you're applying to multiple systems, that's going to take additional time. American University of Beirut, which can be a popular school, is December 20th. Common App will be December 31st, UCAS for full IB students, January 15th. Again, a lot of the kind of more traditional deadlines for many of you will be this kind of December, January, even into early February. And so we'll look at some Canadian universities, January 10th, and then beyond, right? And so again, ultimately, the key here is that you know your own deadlines. And this is why we keep saying the most important thing you can do right now is to work on your college list, right? Really understand when your deadlines are, what pieces of the application you're going to need, so you can start putting together a plan that works for you. Obviously, as these timelines get updated, we'll provide more information. On that same note, we do want to look at the SATs. So as of right now, these are the scheduled dates. Again, this has been, every time we talk to you guys, this seems to change a little bit, but they are planning on offering SAT dates for every single month at the beginning of senior year. Not all the SATs will be available at each testing deadline, but here's kind of what you're looking at right now. So again, if you are interested in taking the SATs, these are some deadlines you could start thinking about. Now, on that same note, we've mentioned this a couple of times that a lot of schools are going test optional. Test optional means that it is what it is, right? If you have scores that you feel like will help your application, you can submit it to be evaluated, but you don't have to and you won't be penalized. So some of the bigger schools I've listed here already, some Ivy League schools, a lot of the Boston schools, University of California schools, a lot on the West Coast. So I added University of Washington, go Huskies, but University of Oregon, Oregon State, a lot of schools on the West Coast and East Coast have kind of already gone test optional. As that information changes, again, we'll provide this going forward.
So talking about the essay, first question is, do I need an essay? And really, it depends on where you're applying. So that's why it's important to have a draft of your college list, because we don't want you writing essays if you don't need them. So once you've got your college list ready, if you're thinking of applying on the Common App in the US, yes, every school will require a personal essay. Some will require supplemental essays. California, it looks a little different. They have 4 smaller essays that they'll be asking you to do. So you choose 4 out of 8 questions to respond to. If you're applying to the UK, yes, you will, except it looks a little different. So it's a more academic approach. in less personal, and it kind of really shows your academic achievements and some of your extracurriculars related to your major. Canada, no, you will not require an essay, although some applications have shorter responses. So it's important to kind of do your research there. So what's the purpose? Along with other pieces, transcripts, they only give a snapshot of who you are, but we all know that you are much more, there's much more to you than your grades. So it's an opportunity for schools to get to know you, to get to know your voice, to get to know who you are. Now there's a quick video here that you can go back and watch. It gives a little bit more information, but they want to know, A, that you can write, B, a little bit more about you, and start to understand kind of what has shaped you, what your worldview is, and how that can fit into their campus environment. Now, just a couple of brief tips, but where I would direct you to go is on the counseling Moodle page, there is a tab called Writing the College Essay or Writing the Personal Statement. Now, it has a module there that you can guide yourself through, depending on whether you're applying in the UK or in North America. So it's got brainstorming, it's got tips, it's got prompts, it's got videos. So if you go there, you can guide yourself through the essay writing process. Now, this is a piece that always seems to hang over seniors. So if there's one piece of advice I'd give you, it's to try and get started on this summer. Don't leave it, because you can really get burnt out later on in the process in trying to be creative, trying to capture who you are. It is a more personal and creative style of writing. And then the last tip I'd give you is keep it simple. I think sometimes people try and overextend themselves and capture too much, when sometimes the simplest essays are the strongest essays. So take a look at the Moodle page. A good first place to start is look at exemplars from past AISR students. That will give you kind of a flavor of what some possible topics are to write about, or what it should and could sound like. Now, the types of essays, the approach can be, again, it's more creative, but you can look at a few different approaches. The first being an experience essay. So think about an experience that challenged you, that changed you, and reflect on that. A metaphor essay, this is a little more challenging, but if you're a strong writer, it could work really well. Looking at everyday objects and what they mean to you, what they could represent. An activity essay is something about how maybe a passion of yours, and kind of highlighting that. Conflict is if you've been put in a situation where you've experienced a conflict, how you resolved it, how you overcame it. And last but not least, this one, beware though, it can come across as a little bit cliche sometimes, was there an event that shook you? And I know right now we're all kind of experiencing an event that has shaken us all, but be careful that you are offering a new perspective that's unique to you, so that you don't sound too cliche. So here's a couple of sample essay prompts. Again, if you go to the Moodle page, it's got more samples there to get you started.
And that's it, guys. So nice and quick. Just wanted to give you guys another piece that you can be working on. So one thing to notice here is that number one on the to-do list, that's not something you guys need to worry about. That's for the seniors. But what you guys should be working on really is researching your colleges. Again, I can't stress this enough. This will do wonders for you when you start to putting together your own timeline, your own list of what you should put together, and give you a great starting point for when we get back to school next year. For those of you who do want to get to some of those early deadlines, your teacher council recommendation info sheets, and looking at the essays that you'll need to write. As Ms. Wellington was saying, oftentimes there is more than one essay, and some students, if you're applying to multiple countries and multiple systems, can write 10, 20, even more essays. And so just having an understanding of what that looks like will help prepare you and make next year as easy as possible. I know that this is a challenging time, and coming back as seniors next year is going to add an additional level of stress. So the more we can kind of do right now to get ahead of it, I think the better it'll be. As always, though, as you guys have kind of your own questions, concerns, worries, please reach out to us. We're here for you and willing to help in any way that we can.